I will call the Monday, March 8th meeting of the Ayer Board of Health to order. Thank you, everyone, for calling in. I saw Steve was there. I think we got everyone, right?
Yep.
Got Trish, got Steve. Yeah, okay, great. All right, public input. Anything from the public?
Always a crowd.
Yeah, public is kind of quiet today.
Yep.
Okay. Then on that note, so we did have Laurie Sabal come last week and speak to us about, and Irene Condon, to talk to us about the trash hauler, solid waste hauler regulations. And what I've been doing is taking a look at what they had listed in the requirements in order to qualify for the maximum dividends and recycling dividends. And I've been comparing that to our regulation. And I think we have some of it covered, but I'm not positive because our regulation does say, so one of the important criteria was that they provide customers with the option of recycling.
Right.
So that is in our current regulation. I'm not sure though if they use the term bundled service. So I don't know if under bundled service it has to be everything for the same cost, trash and recycling. So I'm gonna have to get some clarification on that one. But we say that trash haul in town, you also have to follow. You also have to offer recycling to all your trash customers. So we may or may not have that one. Then when it comes to commercial customers and generators, according to the presentation we had last week, it says that the hauler must provide bundled solid waste and recyclables collection to all commercial customers unless the customer can provide proof that separate recycling services are provided by another permitted hauler. I didn't see anything in our regulation that specifically addressed that. And then the other piece of it is for mandatory recycling, their requirement was that all generators, which would be all generators of solid waste, so households, businesses, must follow the solid waste bans, the Massachusetts solid waste bans. Our regulations only regulate the haulers. They don't affect, let me just see exactly how it's written in the regulation. It's a regulation that allows you to get a permit as a solid waste hauler. It doesn't tell you what, as a resident or as a business in town, you have to do. So I think when they, and of course I'd like to hear what Trish, you and Steve also think about that, but that's one of the things that I would like that piece of it.
You're glitching, Pam.
I am.
Yep.
You are.
Okay.
Might be using up your bandwidth with the two.
Yep, must be. Let me try. Okay. Any better? Yes, no?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, all right, that's good. So I think we just need to ask, or I need to ask for some follow-up on those two things to make sure that I'm understanding this correctly, that our regulation would also, it would have to kind of expand to the users of solid waste haulers, not just to the haulers themselves. Do either of you have any take on that, or
So-
Bridget, if you have any opinion, please weigh in.
So the way you're reading it now, there's oversight when it comes to what the trash haulers do, but if there's no language in there for residents or small business,
Yeah, because that's not really the scope of the regulation. The
And it wouldn't be
regulation is about the hauler.
right, it wouldn't, if you're addressing residents and small businesses, that would be under a separate regulation altogether? Or,
I don't know. I don't know if we could, if we want to expand this regulation so that it does both. I'm not really clear on that, and I didn't have a chance to look at, so they did give us a sample regulation, and I need to take a look at what that says, if that, specifically puts some requirements on the users of the service, or if that, much like ours, is just kind of targeted to the hauler.
yeah,
So that's a question in my mind. It doesn't look to me like their example one really has a lot to do with the users of the service either. Seems like it's mostly geared towards the haulers,
yeah,
but I could be missing something there. So I guess my biggest concerns with changing the regulation in any way at this point is that coming off of, especially with businesses, just as we're starting to see some daylight, towards, I don't want to say we're at the end of the pandemic, because we're not, but we're starting to see some daylight. So I'm a little hesitant to do anything as far as regulations that would put an additional burden on local businesses, both in terms of financial burden and in, time and effort to comply properly. I'm not saying I would refuse to do so, but I just want to be very careful with that. And then the enforcement and the compliance issue is a concern
right,
of mine, and how we do that. And we did hear an example of where the Board of Health assistant was doing this. I didn't notice Heather jump up and down and wave her hand and say she volunteers to monitor the trash cans, but
yeah, and that's a different town that has a different demographic.
yeah.
There's not a lot of apartment buildings, there's not a lot of business, there's no
Yeah.
business.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I mean, that doesn't set over here.
And I noticed Heather is continuing to remain silent, so I think she's not
Yes.
volunteering for that.
No, I am not volunteering. I will not be trash police. I do make my opinions well known to Charlie here and to my parents that I do not use plastic as much as possible, and I have bar soap everywhere, and everything should be recycled. I'm not going around enforcing that on everybody else.
But you
That's
have your
my
limits, right?
I give you a badge.
Okay.
Yeah, give her a hat.
Yeah, I think we got to get more clarification on. I'm always hesitant to do regulations that sound great on paper, but then how do you really enforce them? And how do you make sure that they're enforced equitably? And we do have a lot of businesses in town. We have everything from retail to restaurants to, you get down in the Westford Road area, and we've got quite a grouping there of good-sized businesses. So I think we just need a little bit more information on that one.
Yes. And Pam, when I was looking at that today, it leaves it open where it says when they apply for their permits, they suggest to their clients that this is how it's done, this is what we're going to do. There's no oversight, there's nothing really like, well, we're gonna fine you or any of that. So
Okay.
given that, and I mean, how are you gonna police this?
Yeah, I know. And we do have language in our existing regulation that, it talks about, in addition to permit fees, it also has enforcement. It has some guidelines by which we'll follow. We can fine people, we can refuse to renew their permit. It's not super specific on
Right.
how exactly that's done and how rigorously, how often it needs to be done. So
that was where we left it at the last meeting, that we were gonna look at those again. And when
yeah,
Irene and Lori come back,
yeah.
we really don't have an answer. It's a consideration.
Yeah, I think the best thing we can do really is kind of get together our individual, and there's probably going to be some overlap, but as we look at this regulation and we look at the model that they gave us, and also this presentation, if people can see it, the one about the Mass DEP Recycling Dividends Program. So if we look at all of that stuff, then I would say when they come back in 2 weeks, and is that kind of set, Heather? Are they?
Actually, Lori Sable asked to push that off to the 12th. She's getting her second vaccine on the 23rd, and she just wants to make sure she's not feeling sick for that.
Yeah.
So she asked to be
Yeah, I
pushed
got
back
it.
into the first meeting in April.
Okay, all right, that would be fine. Then I think that's what we will probably end up doing, is asking them some questions, getting some more clarification, and then perhaps doing another round of deciding, once we have the answers to our questions and we feel like we have all the facts that we need, then we could discuss how we want to go forward if we actually want to change the regs.
Okay.
Does that kind of make sense to the group?
The only question I have, Pam, haulers and air all provide recycling. Is that part of a requirement when they get a
Yes.
permit in? They do
Yep.
recycle. Okay.
Yeah. That's part of our current regulation, that if you're going to get a permit for trash, you shall provide customers with the option of recycling.
Okay.
It's the bundled part where I'm not sure because we're silent, our regulation is silent as to whether they can charge you an additional fee for recycling, or does this all have to be under one fee, which could mean that the fee for people that are, really just doing trash only and recycling somewhere else, their rates could go up. I think so.
Okay.
So get your list of questions in order, and we'll get some more clarification on that. Mark Wetzel also tends to have good information on this stuff, so I can also give him a call before they come on the 12th. So let me just make a note of that too. Okay. All right. Anything else on trash haulers or anything trash related, recycling related that you are just dying to get out there? Okay. Bridget, Ms. COVID, what's going on?
This COVID. Oh,
Are you declaring the pandemic over?
I wish.
I know.
Not
Not yet, huh?
No. It's getting better. I
Yeah.
think the next few weeks are going to be telling. But
Yep.
it's just, I think it's a waiting game right now. A lot of people are being vaccinated.
Yeah.
And we're moving into I think the next phase of vaccines, but it's just still getting people to understand that even after you're vaccinated, between
Right.
the first shot and the second shot, you still can potentially get COVID. And, just keeping people wearing the masks and being socially distant is, as time goes on, I think people, obviously they
Yeah.
want it to be over. So we're starting to see a lot of frustration, which is to be expected.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
I hope the announcement today from the CDC doesn't give people false hope, because they said that 2 weeks after your second shot, you can mingle with other people that have had shots and family members. And
Yeah.
some people will just figure, oh, well, so-and-so had a shot. We can go out to dinner, or you don't know
Yeah.
who's in that. So,
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're already starting to see that.
yeah.
And again, I think the next few weeks are going to be telling, and we'll have to see how things go, if things continue to drop as far as numbers.
Yeah.
But we're heading in the right direction, which is great. It's just a matter of continuing to go in that direction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
It kind of feels like there's some hope now that we've got 3 vaccines running. So I'm hoping that this is going to be a very different year than last year. But you're right. We're going to have to see how it goes.
Yeah, and I think if things continue to go the way that they are, I think March 22nd, I think they'll make an announcement about the inside gatherings increasing and the outside gatherings. And I think, again, that's going to be very telling. And we'll have to find out what happens after that,
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
so.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you for remaining at your post, as you always do, and helping to see us through this.
Thank you for thanking me.
Anything, any Neshoba material that we should look at, think about, discuss?
So we
I know
just,
you said you're doing food inspections again.
yeah, we've really picked that up, especially with the restaurants reopening at full seating capacity again, even with the table 6 feet apart. We just want to make sure everybody's still in compliance, and it's sort of, we've really tried to amp that up. And then I've done a couple of housing inspections, one on Myrick Street, and then I have a follow-up to do for one that I had done on 10 East Main Street.
Okay.
There was another email that came in. I can actually forward it to you, all of you. I don't know what's going on over there, but it's West Street. I think 1014 West Street.
Yep.
And the person that complained, I let him know that if he wants me to go in to do an inspection, I can certainly do that. But some of the items that he wanted me to address were taking down Halloween decorations, and some verbal assaults by another tenant, which that would be the police department. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I did not hear back from him about doing an inspection in his apartment, but Charlie has been out, and according to the email, the person has also been in touch with Charlie to go over some complaints, but I have not been able to talk to him yet. He's out. He had surgery, so.
Jeez, we're all falling apart.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So, but other than that, it's just been the COVID food inspections, some housings, and then we're gearing up. There's a lot of questions coming in now about, food events, parties.
Oh, right.
Sporting events, stuff like that. So.
Are we getting to that time of year yet when you get all the seasonal
Yep.
places that are open, hot dog stands, and what about the 4th of July thing and
all that.
vendors for down there
We're having, I don't know that large groups like that will be allowed anytime soon, but they are doing some sporting events. Lacrosse tournaments are picking up. over, I think there's going to be a couple on Devon's. So there's some
Okay.
stuff going on over there. And yeah, the seasonal stuff is opening back up.
Yeah.
And it's sort of right now, wait and see. So I think there'll be a big
Yeah.
push probably in April or May.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
All
a
right.
little, it's a little early. I've seen some chatter about the pond already, and it's somebody came back and said, wait and see. It's way too early to start talking about the park, the pond, all these other places. You know, we still have at least 2 or 3 months before
Right.
we really have to make a decision.
I think because for people that actually have to do the hard work here, the putting together the plan, the open plan and the operational plan, now isn't too early. Should be thinking about it now. It's too early to make any decisions
Right.
because EA guidelines are changing rapidly, and I'm sure will change probably a couple of times before we actually get to the, really to summer. But yeah, it's one thing I think we can say for sure is that it's highly unlikely that the summer of 2021 is going to be like the wide open, like the old days, like in 2019, the olden days when everything was open and you could go anywhere. It's probably not going to be that, but it's probably not going to be as bad as last year. So,
Right.
Exactly. I think there's probably be a happy medium somewhere in there. It's just,
yeah.
I just keep saying proceed with caution because we definitely are seeing people that have had one shot develop COVID. And I've heard
Yeah.
of, again, it was on the news. It was
Yeah.
somewhere in the Midwest. They have cases, they call them breakthrough cases when 2 weeks after your second shot, if you get COVID, that's considered a breakthrough case.
Huh.
So they are starting to see some breakthrough cases.
Yeah.
Again, I think they're looking into why. But
Yeah.
that's really what we want to watch for is what happens now.
Mhm.
And I think a lot of those breakthrough cases, like I said, in the Midwest, they were people that worked in the medical field. But, we just have to sort of proceed with caution, I think, and just remember, we're every month that goes on and as the vaccines continue, we're gathering more information.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, and I guess it's also that, the overall effectiveness of the vaccines, we're up in the 95%, but that does mean that 5 people out of 100, it could be not effective in. So nothing's 100%.
And I don't know, Steve, I don't know if with your background, one thing that I keep hearing and I'm trying to wrap my head around it is they say that this doesn't necessarily prevent, the vaccine doesn't necessarily prevent COVID, but it stops you from having severe side effects.
It stops you from getting really sick. So the chances of getting really sick are minimalized if you're vaccinated, but it doesn't mean that you can't get the infection. You can still get the infection.
Mm.
And that would mean you could spread it to people that haven't been vaccinated or.
Well, I don't think that's been determined yet.
Okay,
So
so that was.
Yeah.
Whether or not you can still be a carrier or a spreader. So I think that's yet to be determined.
Okay,
Yeah.
and I think that's important too, because we're trying to explain this to people, but I think there's, people have a sense of security with the vaccine, and I think that's great, but we also need to proceed with caution and find out how this is going to impact people down the road. So
I think,
Yep.
Bridget, one of the good things to do is that if you're at high risk, because you have whatever comorbid condition, that you should still keep your distance and you're masking. And I wouldn't treat it any different than someone who was vaccinated or not vaccinated, because I still think those people are going to be at a higher risk.
And that's a really good point. And I think,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's what we just need to proceed with caution.
And I think that announcement today, when I said it was a little premature, they were using terms like immediate family and grandparents, that you could go see your grandparents because if they've been vaccinated and you've been vaccinated. And I'm thinking, probably shouldn't be saying that.
I know.
People are going to think, okay, we're all set. And then they go,
Yeah, I know.
It's that's a fragile population anyways. And then,
I know.
but
Yeah. Yeah.
So I
nobody-
think one of the things with the Moderna and the Pfizer vaccine is it's very new technology. It's an mRNA versus giving a killed virus.
Yeah.
And I don't think that there's enough information to show exactly what the outcome is going to be from doing that. Not from side effects, but just protecting you in terms of getting an infection. I think that
And that's another good point, Steve. And I don't know if you have any information. I just heard this as well. There's a new drug that is supposed to be helpful as far as.
that was on 60 Minutes last night, and
Okay.
it's
Oh, really?
yes. Tune
yeah,
into. I would be very skeptical about using it because it's a serotonin reuptake inhibitor like Prozac.
Oh.
Yes, and study at a horse track, I believe it was a racetrack that the racetrack, who I believe was from South Africa, started treating people with this psychiatric medication and supposedly is seeing great outcomes in terms of decreasing viral susceptibility. But personally, I would stick with the vaccine before I would go with something like that.
right.
Okay.
And that doctor,
Yeah.
all that doctor did was he looked at drugs that are already being used for other in other areas, and he was almost like not recycling them, but you know what I mean, Steve? Let's find
Yeah.
some other uses for these drugs we already have.
I would be very cautious about that.
I got it. I got it.
Glad
Maybe
I
it
asked you
makes
then.
you feel happier.
Well,
you may have the COVID, but you're not as sad about it.
the injury, all this stuff is compared to placebo, and
Yeah.
placebo had a 92% effective rate in some of these. So that tells you something too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The placebo effect is a really
Yep.
strong, real thing. Yeah.
Mind over matter.
Yep. Yeah, you got it. Okay.
Let's see.
Yeah, it sounds good. Because I know we are limited on time, so I'm trying to keep us on track. Is that all for the show?
Pam?
I just have one more question.
Sure.
I'm second guessing myself. I just want to make sure that I'm on the right page with this.
Okay.
Of course, I felt it was too early for these questions, but hey, whatever. Someone had contacted me about putting in a shallow well because of a water ban and he not being able to water his lawn. He wanted to put in a shallow well, and I told him just because of the unknowns with PFAS that we are requiring everybody to test for PFAS no matter what well. Am I right on that?
I think that's the right thing to do. Whether there is, so are you asking this from? Is it?
I'm asking you to reaffirm what I think, because I thought that's what we had discussed, but I just wanted to make sure that, because I thought Mark Wetzel had also mentioned that it would be a good idea to.
Yes,
to do the
that
PFAS.
is that part you are remembering correct. That is
Okay.
true. What I'm not sure of is whether there is anything at like state or town. I'm pretty sure there isn't at a town level that says that you must test for PFAS at this point.
No, but there is something, I believe, if I remember correctly, in your regulations that says if there's a known contaminant. So it gives you leeway to test if you know something's going on.
Yeah.
But because we don't know what's where, and
right.
It can travel.
Yes. Yes.
I just went with my gut and said, you have to test for PFAS.
No, you're right. That is what we had agreed that we wanted people to do.
Okay.
That is correct. Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's all I have.
So I have a question
Yep.
regarding town hall and buildings opening back up again. Do we have any information on when, is that a state or a town determined process?
I
Hmm.
believe, are you asking, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, asking me or anyone?
That's one that knows.
Okay.
I mean, so
Beats me.
the banks reopened again. The restaurants are at, 100% with 6 feet. And the schools are open. So when do municipal offices open, and when can you stop meeting by Zoom and have a in-person
Mm.
meeting?
So, I
Hmm.
think my experience is every town is a little bit different. I mean, our office at Neshoba has actually been open for 6 months. And, you know, I know some town halls are open. I know Dunstable's open. Some are open for appointment and some are not. So I think it's a town by town thing. And I think the towns are gearing up. I'm starting to hear they're gearing up to get ready to open most by, I think, the 15th of April, maybe.
Okay.
And then as far as the Zoom thing goes, Steve, I don't know when that's going to be a reality. I asked the same thing, but I think the group meetings and trying to keep people in a town hall 6 feet apart, some town halls are bigger than others, so that can be a
Yeah.
challenge. But I do know there is talk that town halls in municipal buildings will be opening back up.
Okay. But you think it's like a town by town decision at this
It is a
point?
town by town decision.
It is.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Because I know some towns are open and some are not. So
Yeah. Have you
What-
heard anything, Heather, on your end about
oh no, no,
possibly? No. Okay.
no. I mean, I just know some people in town hall probably are just dead set against that. So I don't know how much influence that would have on the decision to open or not. So
Okay.
I mean, especially around the first floor, you get a lot of people just wandering around that come in to use
Yeah.
bathrooms and this and that. So you'd have to, I think if they were to open, it'd be by appointment only. I don't think it would just go full on open, because you
No.
do have that quite a bit in this building. So I would
That's a
assume
good
they
point.
would do it
First-
just by an appointment only, because you would have a lot of people that just wander in because they were so used to it from before.
Yeah.
So I think that would be probably the if that does happen, and that would be the step that they would take. It's just by appointment only.
Is there
Okay.
conversation going on about that in terms of?
Oh gosh,
opening?
no. If there is, it doesn't make it to the third floor.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I haven't. I've heard nothing about it.
I would think with the announcement of the schools going back by April 5th, that a lot of people feel everyone would follow suit no matter what.
Yeah, but like my mother says, when she heard that the teachers getting the vaccine, she asked if I was getting mine. I said, no, I'm in the general population. So there's a little bit difference there too. Just like I quit my job at Target because that job kept getting pushed back, and when I was going to get vaccinated with that too, and it wasn't worth the risk anymore.
Yeah.
So people forget that too. Town hall employees are general population. We're not, and because of anything special. So you got to figure that in too. Like, so Baker moved the teachers up to this Thursday in hopes to get some of them vaccinated before school opened. You open town hall. None of us are getting vaccinated till probably, May, June at the earliest.
That's a good point. Yeah, the employees are general population. Yeah.
Let's wait.
Well, that's an unknown at this point. Okay. How about minutes? Did everyone have a chance to review the minutes from last week? I did. I thought that they looked fine to me.
Yeah.
Okay. Steve, did you?
Not a problem.
have a chance to review? Okay, are you, any amendments or
No.
otherwise we can move to accept?
I make a motion to accept the minutes from February 22nd, for the Ayer Board of Health.
I'll
All
second
right,
that.
okay. All in favor? Aye,
Aye.
all right.
So Pam, you're gonna sign and send it?
Yeah, I'll do that. You've been getting those, right? They eventually make their way to you, Heather?
Yeah, I've been getting them. Just they come in two
Okay.
different pages. So fortunately, my printer up here has been out of ink, and now that Cindy's back, I can start printing again. So I'll get all those figured out and start getting scanned to the website, and then hopefully
Okay.
this week. So I have all the pages and I have all the emails saved to do that. So I can
You
start
want-
getting posted. And if I have any missing, I'll let you guys know so we can get those signed.
Do you
'Cause
want,
I'm sure there is quite a few with everything going on back and forth last year and going into this year. So
do you want a single page with 3 signatures on it? Because we can take forward it. I mean, it's not a big
if I
deal.
could do that, that's the easiest. But like I said, it's difficult trying to get 3 of you to sign something when none of you can see each other. I know the planning
yeah.
board, we just had the chair sign, and I thought we discussed just doing that when we first started meeting back again in August, but I mean, that's fine. If I have to include 2 signature pages, I include 2 signature pages. It's not a huge deal.
Okay. All right, then we'll continue then with that practice. Anything in mail?
Yeah, so we got the letter today. I think it was today. It's dated March 5th, so it probably came in today in the mail for the reappointment of the barn animal inspector.
Oh, perfect.
That,
I was going to
that's
ask
done
you
at the
about
end
that.
of. So that's due at the end of April. So
Okay,
I don't know. I'll put that. We can put that on the agenda for the next meeting, I guess, and I can somehow get this to you to sign.
Who
yeah,
is
Meet
that?
you outside town hall or something to get done, and then I can notarize it and everything. So
Who is
Can we catch Steve up on that?
yeah. So what happens, Steve, is there's some split responsibilities between Board of Health and Police Department. So it's the same person. It's Julie Thomas. So she is actually an employee with the Police Department and has animal control officer responsibilities there. So that's the, you name it. So barking dogs, dogs hit by a car, animals out running loose. I think she gets to all of them. For us, it's the position that she fills is the animal inspector. And that's for the state Department of Agriculture. And under that set of responsibilities, where she reports to Board of Health, she's got 2 primary things. So one is doing keeping up what is called the barn book. So anybody that has, has farms or permits to have animals, she has to go out there and do an inspection, just make sure that things look good, their sanitary conditions. And the other big piece of it is rabies. So what tends to happen in Ayer a lot is bats get into people's attics. So every year we get a couple of notifications that somebody found a bat in their bedroom. We've had cats bitten by bats. We've had cats biting people. So it's all of that quarantine and reporting to the state. And sometimes if it is a bat and they capture the bat, then she has to coordinate getting the bat rabies tested, which is a little bit of a process, I guess. So those are her primary responsibilities, but they're split between the 2 departments, if that makes sense. So we appoint her as animal inspector for Board of Health. So all things rabies and quarantine related and barn inspections. And then Chief Murray handles her appointment as the animal control officer for the town.
Great, thank you.
Okay, sure. And in fact, having brought that up, one of the things that I want to make sure we get in the minutes, because Kevin Johnson had asked for this
Oh, yeah.
last year, is so her duties run on a calendar year, and last year the state did not have a requirement to do the barn book. So we're not waiting for anything there. Sometimes we're waiting, in the spring for her to just finish up a few things for the barn book, but that's not a problem this year. And she has done all of her other things. I have emails that fly past me every now and then with quarantines and bitten people and bitten animals and all sorts of things. So she has fulfilled her responsibilities, and she is due her stipend from last year. So what we need to do is to just vote on having them issue her stipend check from last year. So I think that requires a motion. Heather, help me out. If I I move that we vote to have the animal inspector stipend for 2020 paid to Julie Thomas.
2021. It's fiscal year 2021.
It's fiscal year 2021.
Okay. I second.
All in favor?
Aye. How much is the stipend?
It's $2,600 for the year.
Okay, so that's good. So we can get her paid, and just make sure that you get that motion and whatever.
Yeah, I'll get that to Kevin tomorrow.
Okay, that
I
sounds
think
good.
the warrant goes out this week, so it should. If we get that everything to him, it should go out next Friday.
Oh, good. Okay.
Mm.
So the last thing that I had, and this is the reason why I'm on two different systems, but watch, I'm not going to be able to do it now. I wanted to share my screen to show you oh, sorry, I don't mean to say bad things in a public forum. I think, because I'm clearly not competent to do this, I'm going to forward this to, if I send it to you, Heather, can you up on the screen?
Oh, I'm not on Zoom on my I'm on the town
Okay,
site.
all right.
I can
Then
do
I'm
it for you,
gonna send
Pam.
it-
Cindy.
Yeah, I'm going to send it to Cindy then.
Yeah.
All right. I just want to see, nothing like leaving it till the last minute. I just got email 2. Sorry, got to move my iPad so I can see. You're going to see my ceiling fan again. Sorry. Cindy. And I'm not even going to put a subject. We're just going to do a quick.
I'll know what it is.
Yeah, I think you'll be able to figure it out. Send it without a subject, send anyway. Okay. Whoa, there we go. I'm okay, just a little clumsy, but all right, I just sent you an email.
And I just got it in a minute.
Okay.
There you go.
So this is the little, summary every department, every board sends in. It goes into the annual report. So there's a format for how they want it done, and it's pretty much just this: list your personnel, give a description of what what does your department or board do, what's your point, And then they asked for these bulleted 2020 departmental achievements and what our goals are. So I used the paragraphs really have not changed as far as what our board does and our reason for being. But if you could just go up a little bit, Cindy, I just wanted to show the board what's at the top of this. I just put a little, no, keep going higher, almost there. Yeah, we offer a special note of acknowledgement and appreciation to Mary Spinner.
Yeah.
So I've got that up at the top. Then, so for our achievements, they suggested like 5 bullets. This is one that we just about always include, is the what was issued for permit. So I thought on that one, Heather, if you could just, you know, and the line that's highlighted, if you could just fill in the current numbers for 2020.
Yeah, I was just looking at those while you're showing it. The only one that's different is the animals, just because with COVID, everyone decided to get chickens last year.
Really? So how many?
We had what looks like 23 chickens.
Oh
So
my
we upped
gosh.
those up by 9. Yeah, a lot of people did. So
Oh my God, that is so cool. I love my chickens across the street. I love their little chickeny noises. They're so cool.
just be thankful they're
So-
chickens and not ducks. My kids have ducks now at their dad's house and they're extremely loud.
Oh, really? Yeah, the
Oh.
chickens kind of murmur for the most part. They're not really loud. They're not raucous. So the 5 that I came up with, if you folks, we don't really need to, because I know that we only have a few minutes left and I don't want to run late. But I just wanted to explain to you what I had done here. And if you have any edits or other things that you think would be better for achievements or goals, I just listed the beginning of the public hearing for Chasm Manor. We're continuing to monitor the PFAS situation and, you know, kind of all other things having to do with Devon's. And I also picked up that partnering and the informational presentations that were provided to the board by PACE and Silent Spring regarding the study. And of course, we welcomed and continue to welcome Stephen Slarsky as our new board member. So if you think that I'm missing something big that should be added or should replace one of these, just let me know.
No, I think that's a good summary, Pam, really.
Okay.
I
Okay.
think that hits most of it.
All right.
Yeah.
And so for the future goals for us is always a tough one, because it's to continue protecting the public health in whatever form that happens to rear its, you know, head at the moment. So the 3 things that I know that we certainly do want to do, what that last bullet is a carryover from last year, because we just got, you know, everything kind of went crazy with COVID, but we do need to update that aquifer protection district regulation to straighten out what is our role versus the zoning bylaws. And then continuing to support PACE and Silent Spring to just get the word out there, public awareness. We could, you know, possibly do some sort of informational, you know, public information night or something when they're ready for it, because we started with the Silent Spring study and then COVID happened. So I feel like everybody is kind of aware of PFAS, they've got in the back of their head, but it took a back seat to COVID. So we should probably kind of start over with the community information. And then of course it's to continue monitoring not just PFAS, but, you know, kind of all things Devon's when it comes to remediation. Anything that you would like to work on for next year that's important, or for this year, not next year, that you think is important that we get in here? you can just send me an email.
Yeah, I agree with that, Pam. I think once things start to open up a little bit, things are going to change. Not so much as far as the future goals, but just in general, things will be popping up. So I think those 3 bullet points kind of sum up
Okay.
most of it.
All right. And the way this is usually done is they'll put hours, and then even though it's in alphabetical order, I've asked them to put Neshoba's right after hours, or right before it, either way, because they do kind of go together. And I didn't say anything in here really about COVID, because as far as I'm concerned, that was all Neshoba. That was Bridget. She was our one person dynamo for staying on top of the COVID stuff. So I think as long as those two kind of go together, otherwise it does sound a little odd to me that it's a Board of Health report on the COVID year, and we don't talk about COVID.
Yeah, but I think it shows,
you know,
it lets people know again that it's not so much in our domain, it's more into the show boards of health. Because when this all started, we had a lot of
if you could just make some reference to that, I think though, in the report that Neshoba Board of Health were the key persons to the COVID crisis, that'd probably be the best place that people will know as they're reading the report, to make sure they read that part of the report as well.
Yes, I can do that. Yeah.
Can I interrupt for a second?
Of course.
Yep.
Yeah. Bridget, you're on camera.
I know. I don't even know how I did it, but I did it. I love that you're giving that much credit to me, but I mean, you guys really do have to take credit as well. You have been there. You have, we'll go right back to the beginning when we had a lot of tough decisions to make. I just basically point you in the right direction, but the board is responsible for making decisions, and you guys had to make some tough decisions. So, like I said, it really was not just me. You know, I'm just doing what I'm supposed to do, but you were all there as well. And I don't know, honestly,
well, thank you. Yeah.
If I would have gotten through it without some of your support. So please.
Yeah, it had to be a mutual
It
support.
really was. And like I said, it was, you know, we're just doing what we're supposed to do, but it really, you know, we look to you for guidance. And, you know, again, you had some really tough decisions to make, especially in the very beginning when we didn't know what was going on and the information was coming out. And it was new information. It seemed like every other day. So.
Yeah, I know. And it was just such a tough one, because one of the things that took up so much of our time last year was making that very difficult decision on the Sandy Pond Beach. And that didn't seem like much of an achievement. You know, we closed, you know, or wouldn't allow it's not an achievement. It's just a sad situation.
Yeah. I mean, it really was, but at the same time, you know, you made a decision to protect public health, and that's not always a popular decision. It's a very hard decision, but you did it. And again, that wasn't me, that was you. So I really appreciate it.
Well, thank
you. You all do. You deserve
As
a lot
do
of credit.
you. Thank you very much. Okay. So I will make that edit to just kind of make sure that we're linking together with the Neshoba report. This has to be in on Friday, so you know, I'll get it. If you can just get me, if you do want to make any changes, get it to me by the end of the day, like Wednesday, and then I'll send this to Heather to send on to. Where does it ultimately end up, Cindy? With you?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Got it. Okay. So action items for, it says my J typo, but for
yes,
our
all right. I just noticed that this afternoon.
No big deal. Let's try to continue the discussion, especially since we have an extra meeting now in between now and when solid waste comes up again.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just continue to maybe take a look at that on our own time in between and maybe have that discussion again next week. And if there's specific pieces of information that we can agree on, questions we all have, then we could send those to Laurie Sabal and Irene Congdon ahead of time. So they'll know what information we're looking for.
Pam, as someone who's lived in an apartment building and live currently where my condo is now, my townhouse, that has a commercial trash bin.
Yeah.
It's always offered. If you drive around town and look at some of these apartment buildings, that's all you see is the one trash bin. There's no additional recycling.
Okay.
And I think that's where Laurie Sable and Irene are coming from.
Okay.
So if you just pay attention to that and see if you can, sometimes if you go by there, some of them are a little fuller, especially if you get to the day of collection or the day before, and see what's in there, and that'll give you an idea of what it is they're trying to see. Because I throw stuff in mine all the time, and I save my recycling and bring it to my mother's house because Fitchburg has free recycling, and I haven't been able to purchase a $90 transfer station sticker in Pepperell just so I can recycle. Like, it's kind of ridiculous because it's not free. I have to pay $90 to recycle. I bring it to her house because it's free, and nobody else in my complex does. Out of 10 units, everyone else just throws everything in the dumpster. There was a bed in there last week.
Okay.
There's been insulation in there. So I think that's, I don't live in this town, but I think that's where her concern's coming from. So if people just kind of, they're walking through the neighborhood, go by and just, I think that's what they're looking at, and keep that in mind.
Yeah. And
it's the dumpsters of the multifamilies that they're pointing to.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yep. I can
We
understand
have
that.
2 minutes.
Steve, you're muted.
Is that better?
Yeah.
He's
We
already.
have 2 minutes left.
I think that's
Oh,
great.
2 minutes. Talk fast, Steve.
Can you email me a copy of the town report that I just have my phone. It's hard to read it on here.
Oh yeah, sure.
Either
I'll
send
forward,
them or whatever.
yes, I will actually email it right now. As soon as the meeting's over, I'm going to email it to Heather and to Steve and Trish.
Cool.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. So then I think we are amazingly a minute
Awesome.
early, 5:29. Anyone in the mood to make a motion?
Go ahead, Steve.
I move we adjourn. 1 minute.
I second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We
Have
are
a good-
adjourned. Thank you.
Well, everybody.